Hello, Sooner Nation. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. It's Wednesday night. Of course, I'm going to yell, Jay. I was going to kind of talk quiet, though, because of the comments. Hey, it's a Wednesday night. Game days here in 3 days. We got some comments here. I want to thank Chester so much for the dollar super. Appreciate you so much, Chester. Appreciate you being on there every night before you head to work. Chick-fil-A, yeah, Chick-fil-A's goated. And the over and under on if we're going to yell tonight, Jay. I don't know what the number is, but what do you think?
It's going to be the over, I'm sure. Going to be the over, Jeremy. And I know you're a Chick-fil-A guy, so I'm just going to give the floor to you, Jeremy, and you can tell us what you think about Chick-fil-A.
Here's what I say about Chick-fil-A. I've been to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A was my first love. And I've said this before. When Cane's came out, really when Slim Chickens came out, and, it felt like I was committing poultry adultery when I went to those places. But I've learned, Jay, that while Chick-fil-A is still the best in customer service and their food is pretty top-notch, there are other places with better chicken in general. Anyway, why are we talking about Chick-fil-A?
Well, let's move on. There it is. Sooner fans asking who's the starting O-line versus.
Okay, I'm going to say who the starting O-line is right now. And Jeremy's personal opinion, okay? My personal opinion, this is who it should be this week. I'm assuming Hickman's not playing, so let's preface it with that. Okay?
Okay.
The starting center needs to be Josh Bates. You need to book in the tackles with the two Jakes. Jake Taylor, not the guy from Major League, but the guy for OU. Jake Taylor. And then on the other tackle needs to be Jacob Sexton. And then for my guards, I'm playing Heath Zaida and Fabechi Miwu. That means Garen Hatchett is not playing.
Well, I think it's all going to depend on who they play at center. That's all it's going to depend on. If Bates isn't playing center, if Hickman can't go, it'll be Hatchett. And then if Hatchett's playing center, I would guess they're probably going to put Tarquin out there. I'm not really excited about that, but I think that's probably what they would do. The two Jakes, sequel to Chinatown. Anderson, no go, Ron says.
Based on what BV said, which is he'll be ready sooner rather than later.
I don't think they've said whether or not he's playing or not, Ron. Greg Gutt says Hatchett is better option at center, but for the sake of O-line, Bates need to be center so we can quit moving people around. I agree with the fact that you have to figure it out. You have 2 weeks before Tennessee. It's got to get figured out. I think you're going to see some changes.
Bobby, is this saying what you think they'll do? I'm leaning to that's probably what they're going to do. I'm saying who I want. Bobby, is that the five guys you want out there this week? Starting. Is that your five? Is that Bobby's five or what Beatenbow's going to throw out there?
Let me ask Bobby this. Jacob Sexton, do you think guard or tackle? Your opinion. I'm asking your opinion and the people in the chat. I think most people would say Sexton at tackle. So if he's better at tackle, why is he not playing tackle? They don't think they have a guard that can play guard?
Heath Zaida can play tackle too, Jay.
Mess. I agree. I don't think he's a guard either.
Hey, guys, I do got to, real quick, people are ripping Tarquin. He was actually the second graded guy out there. He was higher than all the other linemen except for one.
Okay, so what we're saying,
I don't want him starting, though.
Real quick, what people are saying, and I think maybe this is what the coaching staff is saying, is that they feel like they're better off with Tarquin at tackle and Sexton at guard rather than Sexton at tackle and maybe Zaida at guard. Is that what I'm hearing? They think that combo is better?
First off, Chester says Sexton should have been tackled by now, so maybe he's not. Maybe he's a bust.
He was tackled last year.
He was a great tackle.
Last year he played tackle. Remember when Guyton went down, he played tackle, and he played pretty well. So
he's not. Jacob Sexton is not a bust.
Yeah, you got to build some chemistry.
And one of the reasons I said Hatchett doesn't need to play this week is he's not healthy apparently.
He wasn't healthy last week, I don't think, but he played.
I know, Jay.
I don't think they have a.
Hey,
that's what I'm saying. If
either
Ozai's healthy,
it's either Josh Bates can be the part or he's not. But if he's not, forget him then. But look, everyone going into the season, including the coaches, said that Josh Bates can be that dude. Then they went and got Hickman. Now Hickman's gone, so is Josh Bates the dude or not? And Bobby, I love Heath Azaida. Heath Azaida was the one who graded out better than anyone else.
Bobby, I'm with you.
I like. He didn't play much, but he needs to play.
I think. What do you think they? This is an interesting question I'm going to pose: is what position's more important than O-line, guard or tackle?
In pass protection, it's the left tackle position because that's.
I know, but in the run game, in the run game, it
could be guard, Jay. But
I think it's. I think you got to get Sexton out there. You got to get him out on left tackle.
Sexton's got to play tackle, Jay.
What is wrong with Hickman? Tucker, thanks for joining tonight. Appreciate you. He's just been banged up. He's got this ankle sprain right now, and nobody knows if that ankle is going to be ready to go on Saturday. According to Brent Venables, he looked good, really surprisingly good. Brent Venables said after last week's game that he was out there looking good, but that doesn't mean he's playing. That doesn't mean he's practicing. He didn't even say the words practicing. He just said he looks good.
Yeah. 9 snaps, second highest grade behind Farouk. And I think Hunter's talking about Heath Azaida. Chief, thanks for the
Chief never disappoints.
Super. You do this every night. You're faithful. I was told there would be trumpets and table slapping tonight. Can you confirm? Listen.
I can slap the table. I mean, I don't have any problem.
I have the trumpet in the other room. I can turn my camera off and go grab it. But speaking of that, I saw someone mention to Travis Davidson how the Hay song. I am still baffled that people think the Hay song is getting people fired up. I'm not moved by the Hay song at all, except to just start screaming things that don't need to be screamed. The Hay song is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's never going to change, probably, as far as your opinion on that. I mean,
it sounds like something you should sing at a birthday party. Hey, you and you and you and you and you. Like, what are we?
I agree. Go get it, John. They said.
I meant to practice some Dr. Dre tonight, but I didn't have time today, Jay.
What song would you play on your trumpet from Dr. Dre, though?
The one they always play on the piano. I don't know the name of it.
Hey, did you see the Florida State fan that said if Florida State lost to Boston College, he would eat dog poop out of a red Solo cup? What's something crazy you would do, Jeremy, if OU lost to Houston? Anything wild out there?
Well, you just told me before the live that guy deleted his
Twitter halfway through the game. Correct.
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't do that because everyone that's on here knows that when I say something, you know it's going to happen because I'm a man of my word. So when I say it, it's going to happen. I'm.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
What?
Anything crazy? For a bet for a game or anything like that? Anything?
No.
You guys are always angry, Martin says. Hey, Martin, I'm not angry right now.
Angry?
Are you
angry? Who's
right
angry?
Now? Jeremy, are you angry right now?
No, I'm not angry.
I'm not either.
Martin, do you like that we're angry? That's what I'm curious on.
He probably did call in sick all week. I'm calling it into the show if we lose to Houston. Okay.
Actually, that says I'm calling into the show if we lose to Houston.
Do you think Zion Kearney gets targets? Does Zion Kearney get targets this week?
He needs targets. I agree, Sooner fan. He's the guy that I think he will get some targets, Jay.
You do?
I think he will get targets.
That
energy has a certain appeal. I'm waiting for Martin Diablo to get on here and say if he likes the anger, which is not really anger, but
hey, I'll say this. We do this show every night at 9:30, and you guys, the support, the way y'all come in there every night with us. I mean, we couldn't do it without you. Now it's interesting to watch the comments over the next day because we get a lot of comments that are about too much yelling and blah, 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 blah. But it's not going to change. It's not anger. I mean, even the yelling, because disagreeing with opinion is not anger. It's just being real. And I'm never going to apologize for being real. That doesn't. I don't attack anybody personally. I know Jeremy doesn't. So it is what it is.
Hey, Ricky, question. And this is for Ricky. I'm calling Ricky out right here. Ricky McCoy says Reagan's getting more love than Kearney right now. Where? Who? I mean, Kearney played last week, had a great block on the Taylor Tatum touchdown run. What do you mean he's getting more love?
I think because of the press conference, BB mentioned him or something.
Because they mentioned his name. They mentioned KJ Daniels' name too, Jay.
I also think I saw like a video, I think maybe Parker Thune and then put out about they think Raggins is going to start getting a lot more playing time, different things like that probably.
They played equal snaps.
Practice with the first team, Ricky says.
Hey, in the world of AI and plagiarism where it's all over the place, I'm with you, Chief. I don't care whose jump around is or who started the thing. Go do it better than them. That is for the people to say, well, we can't do that one because this team does it, or we can't do that. Go do jump around and play the thing and make it your own. As Paula Abdul used to say on American Idol, make it your own, Jay.
Hey,
make it your own.
Larry Sackett says, I was threatened with being blocked by Plank on K-Rev today for calling it how I seen it with him. Interesting.
The only way you're going to get blocked here is if you make personal attacks like our first ever ban 2 nights ago. Man, I was feeling it that night. Jay. Yeah.
Lou says Brian Kelly used table saws after LSU. This here table's a nice table. That's funny, Lou. Hey, I saw where DJ Lagway is getting a start at Florida this weekend.
They got to do something, Jay.
Well, Mertz is coming off concussion, so he wasn't going to play, but it's his time
right.
to get.
They need a change of scenery. Chester says if Jaquez Petaway doesn't take a spot this season, he's a huge bust. Look, Petaway, part of Petaway's issue or the speculation with Petaway is his first game he caught like 8 passes, Jay. That was his first game as a Sooner.
Yeah, I agree.
Hasn't happened since then.
Appreciate it, Selene. Thanks for the nice words. Same with Fresh Out of the Box. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Petaway's not in the portal if he's playing this year, guys.
Did you have a chance to watch OUDNA yet? I haven't got to see it.
I have not watched it yet, Jay. It's on the queue. Jay, hey. I go in about 6:30 in the morning. I get home pretty much 8 or 9 every night, and then I get straight on here and do this. And then I stay up till midnight checking things out on the internet and through my queue.
I want to get to this comment right here. Petaway got the Schmitty space. Yeah, we're not going to get into the Schmitty stuff again, are we?
And no Tyler's right. If Petaway is behind, if Petaway's playing the slot, he's not going to play much, guys. Now it was interesting. It was interesting that BV on his presser, maybe it was the Rudy's interview where he was at Rudy's during the coaches show. Jay, he looked at Teddy Lehman and said, "Petaway's kind of gave the nod. Petaway's going outside some." Okay.
Does Petaway to you, body type and everything, seem like similar to Jalil Farouk?
Petaway's smaller than Jalil Farouk, Jay.
Is he?
Maybe Hunter can drop it in there. He's not as big as Farouk.
I think there's some similarities there, and I think he could play outside for sure.
He reminds me more of a little bigger Ryan Broyles.
Hey, Sooner fans asking about Jalil Farouk. Does Farouk medical redshirt for next year?
No. Here's why.
Wait, let me answer it, and then you say your opinion. I think Jalil Farouk's been through a bunch at Oklahoma. I mean, you can't forget that his first year, he played in that bowl game after Lincoln left. He was good friends with Caleb Williams. He stuck it out, stayed. And then you have the injury now. You had last year, the end of last year, where he had some struggles. I think he probably doesn't medically redshirt, but I don't know. I'm not in his shoes. So
he doesn't have to medically redshirt. Like Kyla says, if he just comes back the last 3 games.
I think he just meant redshirt, though.
Okay, but here's the deal. And I've been saying it, Jay. I know people have been kind of ripping me and saying, you're not a doctor. I don't have a medical degree, okay? I'm trying to get my doctorate in education, though, my EDD. But listen, Jay, I'm not a doctor, but I know what 6 to 8 weeks says. And if he comes back 6 to 8 weeks, he could very well play against Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU, and the bowl game or
Yeah,
playoff. Okay,
but
that's a fact.
Jeremy, also 6 to 8 weeks, you don't know what he's going to come back and how he's going to be. It's a foot injury.
I didn't say I know how he's going to be.
It's the same foot he just injured, Jeremy.
Jay, it's the same foot that they should have had surgery on, and they didn't.
Hey,
so maybe that's why he was hurt.
Thanks, Hunter, for dropping that in there. Khalil Richardson, thanks for joining tonight. Wide receiver room is stacked, no question about it. Thank you, Emmett Jones. And this is what you have to – when you see the recruits every year and you're like, man, they've already signed 3, they're getting another one. This is why. You got to have depth at that position.
They have a 5-star coming in this weekend.
What's that?
They have a 5-star receiver in Norman
From
this
the
week.
27 class, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
That guy's got a name, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
It's a cool name. If I was Farouk, I'd focus on the NFL. Why wouldn't he play when he's back? Kyle, it's all dependent on his injury. And when he comes back, how's he feeling? I mean, that's not an injury you're just going to walk out there and not. It's going to take some time to get back, I would think.
And I'm going to be the first on there. There's 125 on here. We need more likes, but all 125 of you right now, you're going to hear me say something, and you're going to know that this is true if you've been on the Sooner Surge before, if you're a Surgeaholic. I, Jeremy, have been so critical of Jalil Farouk. So if you'd have asked me before the year, hey, Jalil Farouk got hurt, he's out 6 to 8 weeks, would I have been saying gloom and doom? No, wouldn't have. Am I happy Jalil Farouk is hurt? Absolutely not. That's the worst take I've ever heard in my life. Could Jalil Farouk have been a great receiver this year? Absolutely. Made a great play early in that game. But this team has been talked about in the wide receiver room with so much depth. There has to be someone in this room to step up. And I saw what Dean Blevins put out about a tweet about Gavin Freeman. If Gavin Freeman was here, listen, they have some guys in this room. Somebody has to step up. Period.
Yeah. And I see
you have a chance. Petaway can be that guy. Tierney can be that guy. Hester's not that guy, okay? Hester's not that guy.
Real quick, I see a lot of people talking about Cortez Mills and the visit to Nebraska. And people saying, I don't know if they're saying it off insiders, boards, message boards, whatever, that he's not going to visit. Bobby says, great God, EJ called him in the visit and it's a no-go. So I guess Bobby's saying Emmett Jones called him, which, let me say this real quick.
Not going to say I told you so, but I did.
Let me say this.
Jeez.
If you're saying that is basically saying that Brent Venables' policy is do not visit or your scholarship's going to get, your offer's going to get pulled.
So BV's a man of his word, it seems like.
That's what I would think.
That's what I would think, Jay.
I would think if a receiver
I didn't
coach
think
is
he
telling
would
you not to take
compromise.
the visit. What's that?
I didn't think he would compromise. I know in the Discord people are like, well, if BV does this, he's going to compromise. He's going to play favorites. No, he's not. Doesn't sound like it.
Are you talking about Jacoby Jordan or Jacoby Johnson?
Jacoby Jordan is going to be a slot. He's going to move into the slot.
I agree with Messiers. You got
What
to
is
have
the
a
number, Jay? What's the feasible number, Jay?
Hey, I don't listen. Real quick, I don't believe any of that right there, Bobby. I don't. That's just me, and that's my opinion. I may be totally wrong, but I don't believe.
Who's they?
I don't know who they is. I just know what Brent Venables' policy was when he came. I don't think he's changed it, but I don't know. Maybe somebody will ask him in a press conference one of these days if he's changed his policy on recruiting and commitments. I would love to know. Right now I'm saying he hasn't. But
I'm going to say this again. I'm not in the insider world. I don't follow that stuff. I go with my gut. I've been saying all along, it seems like if you look at BV, the type of person he is, pretty truthful, has high integrity. He's not a guy who's going to just say, well, this guy's a better player, so I'll go against my word on that one. And this guy's not as good, so I'm sticking to my word on that one. That's not who he is. Jay, what's a feasible number of targets for Deion Burks? I think 15. It's not happening.
I think 8.
I was going to say 10.
I think 8. I mean, here's what you can do. You can go back and look at last year. and look at Drake Stoops, the last 6 games of the year, he averaged 10 to 12 targets at least. So I think you could definitely get 10. I could see that, because if they were going to throw it 10 times to Drake Stoops, don't you think they could throw it 10 times to Deion Burks?
Absolutely.
But targets, he had 6 in the first game, but that doesn't count. How many reverses did he? They got him in the ball in his hands a couple more times, I think.
I'm going to say something that is related to what we're talking about. But before I do, I've got to get to Bobby here. Bobby says, I think he lets the guys that recruit them make the decision, if we're being honest. EJ had put in the work on building those relationships, not BV. But it's BV's policy. That's a fact. It's not EJ's policy. It's BV's policy from the get-go. That's all I'm saying. Let me say this, Jay. There's the word I'm going to throw out there. It's competitive depth. Okay? We were preached it last year. We haven't heard it as much this year, but they played a lot of guys. I think 84 guys the first game. I heard that Deion Burks has been playing basically multiple personnel packages, more so than maybe they thought at the beginning, where he's moving spots a lot. He was originally a slot guy. Now with injuries, he's kind of moving everywhere. We see at center, Hickman goes down, and they don't go with the competitive depth guy with Bates. They shuffle a guy over, which ends up shuffling the entire offensive line. Are we here again, Jay?
As far as
are we here to where we're not really trusting some of the depth?
Possibly. I don't think we know yet. I think you'll know more after Houston who they throw. I think you're going to see what kind of competitive depth they think they have. Because
and here's my issue. That game the other night was not a close game. If there's any game to go with the depth and trust maybe who you think could be the guy, and not maybe just kind of makeshift it or put a Band-Aid on it, if you will, that's the game to do it, Jay. It seemed like they were trying to just maybe bandage a couple things.
Hey, real quick, though, Bobby, I got a question on this. It says BV is not running a his way or the highway program. If he is at all concerned about culture, who's the leader of the team? I mean, you think he's just going to let every coach do whatever they want to do? I'm confused by that comment.
Actually, Jay.
Wait. Is the comment every coach who's recruiting can do their own thing? Is BB having a policy saying he's running the show his way or the highway? I'm confused by that.
I'm going to tell you why it's not, Jay. Did you hear him in the coaches show? Did you hear BB in the coaches show? When talking about Zach Owley calling the defense, Brent Venable said he slid a couple of things over his way during game planning. Said, hey, you might want to run this. And then he's in the offensive. They even asked him about the offensive meetings. He goes, I'm in there. There's a seat in there for me. And he says, I slide some things to them. And he said, they have to listen to me. They kind of have to listen to me.
Real quick, Craig, I agree. You got to change. You can't be like Clemson, who has not evolved at all with the transfer portal. But let me ask this question. I'm going to ask it. We're talking about the commitment policy in the chat. Who in here likes the commitment policy? Who doesn't? And let me ask this question. I think I get a little confused by the people that say you can't do that in this day and age. But what is he doing? You can take as many visits as you want elsewhere. Just don't commit to Oklahoma before you take the visits. I don't understand the big issue.
He used the analogy about dating. If you're not committed, then date. Go date the other school.
There's multiple quotes from Brent Venables out there where he has told recruits, do not commit. Don't commit. Go take other visits. He doesn't want to commit early. Make sure they're ready. So I know there's going to be a lot of backlash at me for that. But and that's fine. I'm just saying it's not like he's forbidding people for going to visits. If Cortez Mills wants to go visit Nebraska, go. Just don't commit to Oklahoma before you go.
Hey,
right?
Yeah, you already know where I stand on this, Jay. Ricky, EPL, I think everyone wants to see EPL more. He's massive. He's athletic. Here's the deal. He plays guard. Fabechi was really good at guard. If Sexton's guard, he's not going to take over for Sexton. So, to me.
I'm not sure Anthony is healthy yet. I think he's healthy. I think he's cleared. I don't think he's in his potential yet. I don't think he's taken that step to get out there yet. Kyla agrees. Bobby says policy is garbage. Garbage policy, Bobby says. Dalpo says, I say it, I don't like it, put you in a bad position too. But why are you in a bad position? Let me ask you that. Why are you in a bad position? And Ron says, again, OU needs these kids more than they need OU. Let me ask you this. Why are you in a bad position? And why is the policy garbage? Explain.
Have they lost a lot of guys because of the policy? No. Have they gained anyone because of the policy? There are some people, Jay. There are some people who say that it's helped culture too. And I think I could agree with that a little bit.
Coconut Greg brings up a good point. Personally, I like the policy, but does the commitment policy make us seem too desperate? I don't think it's desperate. I mean, I think it's just. And Kyla, I agree with this. I do think they know the policy. They explain it. If you don't want to commit, don't commit.
This goes back to Tucker's question. Tucker asked, what are your thoughts really on BV and what he's done? And I think Sooner fan is telling us he's garbage. Who wrote the policy, Jay?
BV.
So Sooner fan, you're calling BV garbage because of a policy of high integrity. Wow. I'm getting fired up.
Hey, Dalpost, let me ask you this then. If you are a recruit.
It has nothing to do with going to a game.
Listen, if you're a recruit and you know, okay, I visited some schools. I like what I saw in OU, but they have this commitment policy. Maybe if I want to go to these games in Florida and Texas, you know what you have to do, Dalpost? Don't commit. Don't commit till December. Don't sign. Don't do anything till December.
Exactly.
Go do the whole season and go to all the games you want. Just don't commit to Oklahoma. Wait till December. That's all you have to do. It's on the kid. If they want to go to the games, don't commit. I don't understand that. I don't understand the issue. If you don't want to commit, or if you want to go to the games, just don't commit. It's not that difficult. I don't understand it. It's not that difficult.
To me, the other side's garbage then. And I see what you're saying, Sooner fan. You were talking about the rant from Gundy. My fault.
Hey,
Jay.
And now this is a good point by Scott. If you lose your spot, and that brings up a good point. I know Bobby's mentioned that before about guys committing early because they don't want to lose a spot. That's been talked about. I think, Bobby, you've said it earlier. That's a great point. Scott, that's a great point. Here's what I would say. If you're a really good player, they're going to have a spot for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyla. You're right, Kyla.
You're right, Kyla. And what Monty says is right. BV tells him, go on all your visits. I mean,
Larry brings up a question. Have we seen him stand on his policy with a stud player yet? Well, there's been guys.
Here's what we've seen.
Here's what we know. Michael Fasusi's committed to Oklahoma. Is he going to take any other visits? If they're not taking other visits, then, I guess.
Okay, there's been a couple of guys who have been, the word's been out there taking visits, right, Jay? And they never did take them. So what does that imply? If there's a really big-time player, Jay, saying he's committed to Oklahoma, but he says he's going to take visits, and then those visits don't end up happening. What is the implication there? The implication is BV said, you take a visit, you're not here anymore. We're pulling it. So they didn't take the visit. So obviously it doesn't look like he's wavering at all.
Right. They'll get processed. I'm seeing some of these comments. I understand. Listen, I can see both sides. I can see Bobby.
I can too, Jay.
Anthony Evans, he visited Georgia, and they continue to pursue him heavily. What do you mean they pursued him? Did he come to Oklahoma? Didn't Anthony Evans commit to Georgia right after he visited Georgia?
That's what I thought.
And real quick, I think also people misinterpret. Okay, if I'm Joe whoever and I go visit Georgia and I commit, people say that Brent Venables and his policy, they're hypocritical if they're still going after that player. You're wrong. You're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. They're recruiting players. You cannot tell me Michael Fasusi right now committed to Oklahoma is not getting calls from other schools. He 100% is. It's not about talking to the other players. It's about visiting the school. It's different. People say Brent Venables a hypocrite if he's still recruiting guys at other schools that are committed.
No, because based on his policy, if they're visiting somewhere, they're still interested.
Well, that's right. If they come visit Oklahoma and they're committed elsewhere, then they're not committed. He's not a hypocrite. It's his policy. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
I don't know much of the behind-the-scenes stuff on Anthony Evans, Jay. Like I've said before, I don't sit here and follow recruiting like a lot of the people do, so I can't comment on it, and I won't.
So that's why I'm interested to know Bobby. Bobby would know it probably mess. Didn't pull his scholarship, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But.
Ricky said Evans said he was going with family. Was it an official visit or unofficial?
Well,
you can still
unofficial.
You can still take unofficials, Jay, in the commitment policy. Correct? Correct?
What's that?
On the commitment policy, they do allow unofficials anywhere else. Is that correct?
Hunter would have to
take an official somewhere. I thought I'd have to read it, Jay. I'd have to read it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Juan Blero says, how can a coach cannot manage his scholarly numbers if verbal commits keep taking visits? That's what it boils down to. Says, will Houston score this weekend? Yes, they'll score. I think they get 3 points or maybe 7. That's it.
Hey, yeah, I think they're going to score under 10, which I think would be really good for OU's defense. I agree, Tucker. I haven't seen anything where BV has said that he's going against his word. Bobby says it was official. Jeremy committed to Georgia soon after, and we kept recruiting him. Okay.
But what is recruiting players that are committed to other schools has nothing to do with Brent Venables' policy. Are they saying because they're still recruiting him that they would still take him and not pull a scholarship? Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Listen, I thought the policy stated that if you go visit other schools, you're no longer committed to Oklahoma. That doesn't mean they're not going to try to get you committed again. But once you visit another school, you're no longer committed to Oklahoma. Isn't that what the policy is?
Yes.
So that doesn't mean you can't commit later on, right? I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
I have to read it.
Isn't an official bye-bye, you're done with us? I don't know.
Dalpoa says, any chance OU gets a sack record? They get over 9, Jay, against Houston. Who's there? Well, when it says they're saying we might be able to break the sack record.
I heard different people. It might have been the breakdown saying, or somebody saying their D-line, their O-line is awful, and that OU should get a lot of sacks this week.
I hope OU tries to go over the sack record every game.
Yeah.
And Greg God, you're absolutely ridiculous. BV knows the policy, bud. Some of your statements, man, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just going to call it out. They're ridiculous statements. You act like BV's an ignorant person. You say things that are off, just not even close. Now, I may say some dumb things too. I'm sure I have.
Oh, Jeremy, you've said more dumb things than Greg God, I promise.
But that's outlandish.
Well, some of the stuff
you're basically implying stupidity on BV, and he's not that.
Some of the stuff you say is pretty stupidity as well.
He's not a stupid person.
I mean, I don't need to go back and pull up everything, but there's been a lot of stupid stuff said on here by you and me, probably. 6 sacks for UNLV. Wow.
Yeah, UNLV.
No, they're not.
How many points does OU have to put up, Jay?
It's not about points for me. It's about how they play offensively. It's not about points. It's about how they look offensively. I would love to see in the 50s again, put up 50-something points. I think that'd be great.
Hey, Ron asked if I know BV. No, I don't personally know BV. I know my dad, 84-year-old father, hired Brent Venables as a sacker at Skaggs Alpha Beta back in Salina, Kansas, when he was a young lad. But I will say this. All I can base my knowledge of Brent Venables off of is what I've seen and what I've heard. To me, he seems to be a man of his word. Seems to be a person of really, really high integrity. Doesn't seem to just sugarcoat things. So I don't know what you want me to tell you, Ron. No, I don't personally know him. I haven't had coffee with him. I don't know what his hobbies and interests are outside of football. I know he's an absolute genius when it comes to defensive game planning. Absolute phenomenal genius when it comes to that.
Blake says the real question is, can our third string play better than UNLV? They should be in by the second quarter if our offense figures out. We'll see. Hey, yeah, you're in the right place, Kimberly. Don't change that channel. Chief, what does success and or failure look like Saturday? To me, success looks like the O-line gets better. And failure, it doesn't. Pretty simple in my book. Because I think, and I know I'm very high on this defense. I'm probably higher on this defense than most people, okay? I'm a believer that the offense carried this team for years on their back and won them games that they had no business winning. I'm talking about games that was 50-48 over West Virginia. They had no business winning that game. The offense carried them. I think this year, they are set up to win games defensively, whereas they have no business going to Missouri and winning, and they win 17-14, something like that. I think the defense is good enough this year. I think it can be. I know there's going to be a lot of people in this comment. I'm queued up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's going to be a lot of people on there bashing me for that.
Hey,
but I'm pretty high on it, man.
Hey, first off, Bobby, I got to react to the comment here. And Greg God, I was just ripping your take about BV. I'm not telling you to go anywhere. You know you're welcome here, and you know you're in the Discord and active. But no one can call me a sunshine pumper on here. I know that, and I know they're talking about. And I'm definitely not soft. I think you're talking about people in the chat, but everyone has their own opinion on things. Okay, I've been very critical of this team. I've been critical the last 2 years. If you've watched any of this,
yeah, that is DeMarco's back for Houston. Correct, he's back.
And hey, I think Larry said DeMarco needs to stick with 2 guys. I don't think so. I think DeMarco needs to go at least 3 guys because Taylor Tatum's got to be one of the 3.
Tatum's got.
I want Sawchuk, Barnes, and Tatum. Honestly, I really don't care anywhere after that.
Yeah, who do you got, Nebraska or Colorado this week?
It's at Nebraska, isn't it?
Yeah, Nebraska's going to beat them.
Yeah, Colorado has 0 chance in that game, in my opinion.
Well, there's not a 0 chance, but I mean,
I just said that for people who don't like the absolutes.
How far off is OU from being a top 20 offense? I think the offensive line they got coming in next year with the freshmen this year, I think 25 and 26 offensive line wise looks really good. I think that could be the holdup this year on this offense being good. I think it's offensive line. We'll see. I mean, the proof's going to be in the pudding, so we'll see what happens. But to me, that's my kind of hesitance right now is I got to see the offensive line get better quickly, very quickly.
Yeah. If Hicks goes out and runs for 100 versus Houston, is he the flavor of the week? And Bobby,
that could happen. No, who knows with DeMarco?
It absolutely could happen because last year everyone thought Hicks was going to play, never did. Then he comes in the spring game. He looked great, Jay.
Yeah.
What happened between spring and the first week of football, Jay, with Caleb Hicks? I'll tell you what I think happened. You ready for it?
Tatum showed up?
Tatum showed up.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Just when you hear Brent Venable says, I think the word you used was he's different.
Taylor Tatum showed up and Hicks kind of was lost in the limelight.
Okay, and there's the comment from Crystal. Does anyone think we're prematurely getting too high on this defense? I don't, but that's my opinion. There's probably a lot of people that do, and that's fair. Listen, it's fair for people to be hesitant with this defense. They haven't had a great defense in a long time. So I totally get if you want to be hold your horses type person. I don't blame you for that.
Here's what I would say, Jay. I would if they go out against Houston, and
Houston's not any good offensively. You shouldn't tell
listen to me. If they go out,
you won't tell anything from the Houston game, probably.
If they go out against Houston and there's a couple guys running wide open, I'm concerned. OU has not had bust. Even last year, they cut the number of big-time busts down significantly. If they do that again, and I'm just going to say with Zach Alley and his attention to detail, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for this team to have a lot of bust on defense.
We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. That's for sure.
I know they were never lifting Ted Roof up in the air in the locker room after a game last year.
And Bobby, this is fair. And I think OU fans, the majority of OU fans are exactly with Bobby right here on this comment, as far as not just offensive line, defense, all of it. They are going to be a wait and see until the Tennessee game.
Trap House, good to see you on here. Trap House says it's all dress rehearsals up to Tennessee. And here's the thing about a dress rehearsal, Jay.
That's fair.
Jay, a dress rehearsal. Okay, I've been in plenty dress rehearsals. You treat them like the real thing. The difference is in a dress rehearsal, sometimes the stands aren't full. You don't have the energy.
Going through the motions?
A little bit in a dress rehearsal. And I think that may be what be implied there, that you can against these teams. And I like what Bobby, I think it was Bobby, that his needle won't move until that game. The scales won't be tipped in any favor until that Tennessee game. But I do think, with what Trap House says, while they are dress rehearsals are very important in any landscape of things, because it kind of gives you more confidence is the main thing. Hey, more dress rehearsals, more confidence for the real thing.
Mark, appreciate that. Super. Thanks so much for the support. We really do appreciate it big time. CS Land says, look at the trend, not far removed from Bookie being on the field as a starter. Good reason to be optimistic. There is great reason to be optimistic defensively wise. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. Just book it right now. Book it. As you use Bookie in this, I'm going to use book it. Come September 21st, I don't know what time that game is yet. They have not announced it. The Tennessee game. When the clock strikes 0 on that game, you're going to have fans either saying OU's going to the playoff because they just beat Tennessee, or they're going to be saying this team's trash. Book it. It's going to happen. That outcome. What?
They're going to say it September 7th at about 11 o'clock at night on this live.
Well, that's true, but
after Houston, there's going to be people saying both of those. But they did it against Temple. People are saying, OU crown them, and other people are saying, OU's done.
But the difference is after the Tennessee game, there will be a legit. To me, and Chief says that's a tipping point. It is. That's. I'm trying to think. I would probably say every other year in Big 12 play, it's the Texas game. Okay, that everybody says get by Texas, and then see what happens. This year, it happens to be Tennessee. I think that's the game. If they were playing South Carolina first at home, it would not be the game. It's because it's Tennessee. They're both going to probably be ranked around 10 or 11.
Here's the difference.
Here's
the difference, though. In years past, it was Texas or bust. Like, that was the team you really had to beat to get your name on the national scale because your schedule didn't have anyone else. If OU were to lose to Tennessee, first off, it'd be horrible. But there's enough big games that totally wouldn't be over. I like what Monty says. We had a bookie, and then we had a General Booty, and now we have a booby visiting this week.
Yeah, Kyla, that'll be interesting to see. I think it will be a tight game. Iowa Senior says we won't know anything until we go on the road and beat Auburn. True. Auburn looked good week 1. I know it's week 1. Tennessee is the barometer, and Ole Miss on the road. That's true.
Jay.
Tulane will be a good test. I agree.
And that's why Nick Anderson's not playing this. Nick Anderson's going to play against Tulane first game. I would be shocked if he plays this week, Jay. But I think he's got to play against Tulane.
Three things you're watching for this week other than O-line. You can't say O-line.
Here's what I'm watching. I'm watching for penalties again. I'm watching for not having – I don't want a lot of penalties. They had a couple dumb ones last week. RSJ had the late hit out of bounds. They had a couple on the offensive line. But low penalties, no injuries, okay? And then the third thing that I'm looking for, I want to see Jackson Arnold slinging the deep ball, okay?
I think one of the biggest things I'm looking for, other than O-line, obviously, Seth Luttrell play calling this week. I want to see.
Which goes along with what I said.
I want to see more of the offense. I do also want to see this. Another game where the defense is in the right position and they get turnovers. I think they're going to get another 3 or 4 turnovers this week. And then probably is, I know I don't I kind of get it, but I don't really. Tyler Keltner, he's kicked one game, and you would have thought he's going to be in the NFL. I mean, the people that are
Jay.
Oh, okay, but how many field goals did he make? 2,
3
field goals. I'm just saying. I think it was outstanding. OU needs a kicker bad, but I still want to see.
2 of them were long ones, Jay.
What happens if he misses one, though? That's what I want to see.
Booby Feaster.
3rd down completions would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be good. No receiver drops. Mez says, hey, speaking of Seth Luttrell, OU ran the 2-back set 3 times last week. I want to see it more. All 3 times were better. Were good positive yards out of it. I want to see more of that. With the Jackson Arnold slinging the ball, look, he acted like they're going to open it up a little more. Got to. Hey, this is an interesting one.
That's a good one, Dalpos.
There are a couple of names that nobody's talking about. Woody Washington is one of them. Yeah. Guys, Woody Washington was suited up and never got on the field last week.
He was battling injury. Brent Venable said that.
I agree. He was suited up, though.
Why do you keep inferring that he was?
I'm not inferring anything. I'm stating a fact. He was suited up. He went through warm-ups. So he's really close to playing.
Since Friday, that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's 5 days. I think he brought it up on the live 3 or 4 times, all but one day.
Sure have. I'll bring it up tomorrow, too.
You say the same thing every time. You say, Woody Washington, he was dressed out, didn't get in the game.
Now, let me finish. Woody Washington was dressed out, full pads, went through warm-ups. It's a fact. He was very close to playing. Maybe could have played if it was a big-time game. Deshaun McCullough is not. He's still in a boot. You saw him walking out off in a boot. As far as both of those guys go, I want to see 4 guys at DB, maybe 5. I want to see Des Malone. I want to see Kenai Walker. I want to see Gentry Williams. I want to see Woody Washington. And I wouldn't mind continually seeing Jacoby Johnson, okay? 5 guys. Every game, play 5. Switch them in and out. As far as Deshaun McCullough goes, they're not going to rush Deshaun McCullough. He's been in a boot now for 3 or 4 weeks. Like, he is a guy you need back. I know people are going to be like, well, they're a linebacker. You need a Deshaun McCullough back. I think he can add pressure to the quarterback. He's tall. He can block passes. He can put his hands up. He can cover someone in the flat. Like, you need him back. They're not going to rush him. I look for maybe Tulane. And Sammy Amigo looked really good.
He did. Hey, let me get to Crystal's comment. She says, honestly, Seth Luttrell is the biggest question mark, second to the O-line. I agree, Crystal, and here's the thing. I know we've talked about Brent Venable. He's in his 3rd year. What's it going to take for him in his 1st year in the SEC? The Seth Luttrell hire is going to make or break Brent Venable's first year.
It's going to make or break Brent Venables.
First 2 years in the SEC will be made or broke by the hire of Seth Luttrell. You can't argue that. It's gonna. If they don't perform offensively, and he's part of the reason why, Seth Luttrell, then that's on Brent Venables, because you can't say there weren't guys out there to go get. He went in-house. He went with Seth Luttrell. Okay? Seth Luttrell may be outstanding. The jury's out. But I do think it will, for the first years of the SEC, a lot of it's going to hinge on that.
It's going to make or break BV. I agree with you. Part of it, I think they wanted the continuity. They wanted guys like Jackson Arnold specifically, who likes Luttrell. But, Jay, Eric says if we're keeping the theme of best guys play, you won't be seeing Washington much. He's done. Again, Jay may agree with you. I disagree because, and I'm going to do something tonight for all you Surgeaholics out there. I'm going to go back and watch film on Woody Washington because last year, Woody Washington. I thought Woody Washington was excellent last year. I thought he improved his tackling until the Arizona game. Guys were not even throwing the ball his way, okay? There's a reason people weren't throwing the ball his way. I think he had really good man-to-man covers. I don't think he's great in the zone. I think he's a good man-on-man cover guy, but to say he's done, I think is probably an overstatement. Maybe you guys on this, I'd love to see where everyone's at on that.
Hey, let me get to this comment. Not if the defense is good enough, they will let him get another offensive coordinator. And you're right. If the defense, and this is what I think is a little bit different for OU fans, is they're not used to that. OU fans are used to having powerhouse offenses with the lackluster defense, at least in the last 15 years, okay? And I watched plenty of teams win national championships with horrific offenses. Guys, if you remember the Alabama LSU days in the SEC where they would win 6-3, some of those teams that, I mean, Alabama, Georgia, the early days of Georgia before they dominated the last 2 years, but early on, they weren't great offensively. And I didn't hear a whole lot of Alabama and Georgia fans complaining. So you're right. If Brent Venables has this defense where I think it's going, then there would be some leeway there. As long as you're winning, though, off the comment, as long as you're winning, you can't be throwing out a 7-5 and a 6-6 record. But if you're winning and winning with defense and you're going 10-2, yeah, you're right on that.
Hey, I've got to address something. I know we're 50 minutes into this. Cracker Mac says Woody Washington is getting passed up by superior talent. I've pretty much got that memorized because that's been on the chat probably the last 9 days straight. And here's all I'm going to say. Obviously, I'm higher on Woody Washington than most. But here's what I'm going to say, Jay. When you say, Cracker Mac, that he's been passed up by superior talent, I believe there's a lot of people on here who were ripping Kenai Walker and saying Kenai Walker does not belong on this field. But now he's superior talent over Woody Washington. Like, you got to be careful because there are a lot of people, lots of people ripping Kenai Walker and saying he needs to go. He started, okay?
I don't know.
Started last week.
I don't know if anybody's saying he needs to go.
He started last week, Jay.
Yeah, and he played really well.
Jay, last year, and I wasn't one of them. I actually said Kenai Walker, he's a big body. He could be valuable. There are a lot of OU fans saying Kenai Walker needs to get out of town. And what's funny is, Larry, everyone's talking about Jacoby Johnson. I'm getting fired. Everyone's talking about Jacoby Johnson. He is elite athletically. Agree. He has got the body. He's got it. I don't see him on the field much.
He played quite a bit of snaps in the first game.
Not much.
Yeah, Hunter, pull him up for us. He played quite a bit.
Did he play more than Kenai Walker, Jay? Did he play more than Des Malone, Jay?
I'm not a walking encyclopedia, so I don't know.
Well, I am, and he didn't. He didn't play. I am a walking encyclopedia. He didn't play more than either one of those guys.
You are definitely not a walking encyclopedia. You say you're you got a whatever that memory is, photographic memory. You can't remember from the night before.
23 snaps.
Pretty good. How many did Kenai play, Hunter? How many Kenai play?
I would say Kenai played a whole lot more than that.
Maybe like 28.
Probably 30s.
40,
Jay. There you go, buddy.
Don't call me buddy. Buddy? Really? Wow. Okay.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. DG was 80%, and he wasn't elite. Okay? 80%, but not elite. Jay, someone wants a trivia question.
Do you got a trivia question tonight?
Let me think of one. Here. Okay? I got one right here. Number 14, trivia for the night. FanStop. Check out thefanstop.com. I've got my new shirt of the month right here. It's the OU field with the OU logo in the middle of it. It's great. Sign up for a shirt of the month package. Get a shirt sent to your house every single month. They're great. Thefanstop.com. I'm going to say this, Jay. I want to know the DB who wore number 14 out of the 918.
What year? I mean, what do you mean?
I already said it. I don't need to say anymore.
There's been multiple.
Number 14 out of the 918, Jay. I think there's only been one number 14 out of the 918. Eric gets it. Eric, congrats. You get it. It's Aaron Colvin out of Owasso. Owasso, who just ripped Bigsby last week.
Colvin, Bobby got it. Just a little bit late, Bobby. You got it, though. Jeremy, you excited to be at the game this week?
I'm excited to be in Norman this week. I'm looking forward to
some Surgeaholics out. See some Surgeaholics out there.
I'm going to drop in the Discord on Saturday where we can meet up. Okay. I'm excited, Jay. Today's Wednesday. And Mez says, I'll admit, Kenai Walker played like crap in 2023. Glad he turned it around. He admitted the off-field challenges hurt his game prep. I think Oregon's going to play different this week. I think Oregon will be better. If they have 2 straight close games against both Idaho schools, wow.
Bill Blankenship did retire, and Owasso, first game without him, put it to Bigsby pretty well. So,
Perryman,
you're right.
Perryman, here's the deal. If he can get back to his, I think he's better this week than he was last week. I think he's going to get more confidence. Like Trap House said, these are dress rehearsals. Confidence going against other teams, running the routes. And I think by Tennessee, he's going to be closer to what he was last year. Maybe he surprised us in this week he is. I don't know.
Chad, that has to be better.
Has to be.
That's one of the worst performances they've had third down conversions that I've ever watched.
In the history of football, Jay.
That I've ever watched. Yeah, you're right.
In the history of the game.
3rd and 8 and you're throwing the ball 3 yards. It's not going to do you anything. So they got to be better.
Every receiver is going 3 yards.
Fact.
Right? They're all running 4-yard hitches, Jay.
Baker says, I'm an OU fan stuck living in Oregon, and I can confirm that Oregon fans are worried about this weekend.
Now, I will say this, Baker. What I did read a lot of Oregon fans posting was that they're worried about not being able to utilize some of their weapons like Evan Stewart. Evan Stewart had 3 catches. Listen, Oregon threw the ball 50 times, 49. Evan Stewart caught 3 for 15 yards. Evan Stewart, who everyone was saying, this guy's unbelievable. He was ticked. Okay? Facts. He wasn't happy.
Larry, I don't know of many teams that probably have scored that many points with 1 for 12 on third down conversion. So
it's abysmal, Jay.
I as we end, I got one more thing to bring up. They were 3 for 3, Mess.
They were perfect. You shouldn't need a 4th down against Temple.
And I want to bring this up. We can probably hit on it real quick before we get off here. Listening to Brent Venables on his Sunday night coaches show or whatever, it was brought up on the 3rd down stuff how he said it a few times, like it was 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 5, and we wanted to throw a 3-yard pass so we'd have 4th and 2, the analytics saying. What happened to just going to try to get the first down on 3rd down? I think a lot of teams, I'm bringing this up because I think a lot of teams say, let's get closer so 4th down's manageable instead of going to try to get it on 3rd down. Let's get it within 2 yards and then we'll go for it. You see a lot of teams like, well, we got 2 downs here. Let's play it smart. Do you like that, or do you like just going for it on 3rd down to try to get it?
Jay, I hate the analytics stuff. That's not my MO. It never would be. I hate the plate. Look at what they're giving you. Go run your best play and get the first down. If you don't get it, but to me, let's go get 3 so that we can go for it on 4th down. Garbage. I agree, Jay. Garbage. Now, also depending on where you're at in the field.
I get it if it's 3rd and 11 and you're in Clinton, then you want to get 5 or 6 yards and then go for it. But when it's 3rd and 6, I don't really understand it. We're going to run it for 3 yards and then I don't know.
Real quick about the Cortez Mills. I said last night in the Discord, I don't think he would take his visit, or maybe it was 2 nights ago.
But
I still don't. And if he does, I don't think he'll be a Sooner.
Well, I think Bobby and a few people have confirmed that he's probably not taking a visit, is what it sounds like. But who knows? We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. The game's Saturday, so I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate everyone tonight. Thanks, Chief, for the super. Mark for the super. Chester for the super. Appreciate everyone. As always, continue praying for our dad. Didn't have a great report today. Gonna have a PET scan in a couple weeks. There's some things that don't look good, but appreciate your prayers in that regards. And we'll see a lot of you guys at the game on Saturday, but we'll see y'all before then because tomorrow's Thursday and it's another day closer to Saturday. OU versus Houston, 6:45. And I think we hit the over on yelling tonight. So we will see you all tomorrow night. Hit the like before you go, please.